If you've ever started and ran your own business, whether it's detailing related or not, you know how difficult it is to get your first 10, 20, 30 customers starting off because you have no big ad budget to spend on advertising, on marketing. You know, your name isn't very well known by others. You're just starting off, so you have, very limited supplies, knowledge, experience, whatever the case may be, but it's hard. You fight and bleed and sweat for every customer you get in the beginning phases. And what a lot of people don't understand is it's not simply just about doing great work at whatever it is that you're delivering. So whether it's you're in IT, whether you're a dentist, whether you're an HVAC, a detailer, it doesn't matter just to be great at that. There are so many other things you have to be great at in order to have a successful business. One thing I haven't talked about much yet on this channel, which I will, is sales. So that's when someone, a prospect, a potential customer, is calling you for your services because they want more information. So what is it? So in this video, I'm gonna be talking about how to handle incoming calls, why you should use a script, and a few mistakes you're doing by not using a script. So pretty much you're winging every single call that comes your way. If you don't want to stay throughout the entire video, I created this sales guide here, a sales script. So if you want to skip the entire video, download that resource down below. It has all the instructions. Just follow that and you're good to go. I'm sure you've had the same problem where you called a business and you want some information. You're hoping to talk to someone friendly that wants to give you information, and you pick up and you can clearly hear that they have absolutely no care about what you need, and they absolutely hate their job or having a bad day because their voice tone is just pure laziness with no enthusiasm whatsoever. I've worked at companies, I've been with companies, I see it all the time just when I'm shopping around myself. So many staff members or employees working at businesses with the most unempathetic, no energy, no enthusiasm in their attitude when they're talking to people over the phone. Now, if you're in a sales position like you are, that you own your own business, then you need to be at the top of your game every single time a potential customer calls you. Every single time you're given a chance to potentially close them and they'll give you money, or you can mess it up and they can go with another detailer and they can give money to someone else. So keep that in mind, that if someone gave you a call, out of the dozens and dozens of detailers they could have chosen or could have potentially called, they chose you for whatever reason. Maybe they saw you driving by, maybe they saw your shop, maybe you were recommended, maybe they saw your listing on Google or on Yelp, whatever the case may be. They looked at your website or your listing and they gave you a call. So do not take that for granted. Out of everyone that they could have called, they are giving you a chance to get their money from them. So do not underestimate that. The next thing is, now that you get a phone call after you worked so hard to get those calls coming in, are you simply winging it every single time you get on that phone call? And by winging it, I mean you have no formal structure. You just hear them talk. You maybe ask a few questions, whatever those questions may be when they come up. And then you say, okay, well, if you want, be this much. If not, okay, just, call me later. I'll wait for you to call me. And you're following you're not doing a structured sales script where that it just, wherever the conversation goes, that's where you'll go with it. You'll just go with the flow, and if it goes left, you'll go left. If it goes right, you'll go right. But at the end of it, you just want to get off the phone and go on to the next one. And since this is your business and you're relying on sales to get money in your pocket, you cannot take this for granted. You have to go on every phone call at your peak performance to heighten your chances of closing that deal, or at least moving that customer, that prospect, closer to spending money with you. If you're not using a sales script, it's much easier for you to miss details on every call. Because again, you're just winging it. However the conversation is going, it's how it's gonna go. So if you need to be asking like the size of the vehicle, the condition, the last time it's been detailed, what area do you live, what's your budget? Those are essential questions to ask. But if you're just kind of going with the flow and letting it happen however it goes, then you can easily short yourself. If you do book that customer and you quoted them X, and when you get there, it needs to be way higher than what you quoted. Or you told them it's gonna take 2 hours, and you get there, it's gonna be 7 hours. So missing those small details can really kill you in the long term when you actually go and detail that customer, or in any other future situations that you may need that information. The second reason you need a sales script is because it's a lot easier to refine your sales process when you can look at something objectively. So if you're just going nilly-willy off of every phone call and you're just kind of brushing it off, then there's no real way to see, okay, in the beginning I'm messing up, in the middle I'm messing up, at the end I'm messing up. I'm asking too many questions here, I'm not asking these questions. You have no baseline of what to do. But if you had a sales script, something just to follow as a structure, then it's much easier to say, okay, well, in the beginning, they keep on asking this question instead of this question. Let me change this. Let me reformat that. Let me word this differently. You can objectifyly look at it in a much more clearer sense of what part of that sales script is not working as well, and then you can improve on that. So I'm not gonna actually read this sales script right here, just because you can download it yourself and then go through it yourself. So it'd be kind of mundane if I just sit here and go word for word. So that's up to you. What I'm gonna focus on here is how to use the sales script effectively so you don't sound like a robot and you don't get overwhelmed with it. So if you want the sales script, just download that down below and then you can read it. There's 2 versions with some clip notes. You'll be set to go. Tip number 1 to using the sales script is you don't need to read it like a robot. Make it sound natural. So just because you have a piece of paper in front of you doesn't mean you're gonna have to just turn into like this corporate salesman that's gonna have no emotion or no type of voice tone whatsoever. Make it sound natural. That's gonna come with practice, that's gonna come with experience, but you don't need to make yourself sound like a robot. Tip number 2, just like anything else, in the beginning phases, you'll rely on it heavily because you're just starting to use it. You're probably trying to memorize it. You don't have that much experience with it. But as time goes on and as you get more phone calls and as you practice it more in front of the mirror, as you record yourself, as you dialogue with others, as you role play with others, then you'll use it less and less. So in the beginning, you can use it more. As you go on, get more experience, you'll use it less. Tip number 3 is you don't even need to memorize the script word by word. All it's there is as a guide for you to follow a structure. If you do get off point, if you need to get back on track with the conversation, you refer back to the sales script. But it's not there to literally go word by word, line by line, exact, frame by frame on how you set it up. It's just there to give you a guideline on how to structure the phone call so you're not missing any details and you're increasing the chances of you closing that deal or landing that customer. Tip number 4, this was a big problem for me, was when you start to, and this is not just with a sales script, but when you just talk to people and customers more specifically, is you'll talk very, very, very fast. And I had a problem, if you go back to a few hundred videos of mine, in the beginning phases, in the beginning videos, I would just bull rush every single word that I would say, and I would be talking like Speedy Gonzalez. So you need to keep that in mind. And the best way for you to discover if you are talking fast or not is to record yourself while you talk. So if you want to talk in the mirror and go over the script there, or role play with someone and record your voice or record yourself, film yourself going through the script, and you'll see if you're talking way too fast. So that's something that you really need to keep track of, is are you talking too fast? Because then the customer is not gonna understand you and they're not gonna keep up with you. So keep that in mind. Do not rush the script. Tip number 5, piggybacking on what I just said, is you need to give breaks so the customer can talk. So if you're going through your script, you're not just gonna read line by line with no break to give the customer a chance to speak. So throughout the script, on where you identify the few short points, is where you're gonna take a deep breath or a small break, and then give the prospect a chance to say something if they need to. Don't just don't let them talk and then cut them off because you're just going over the script and you want to follow it to the T. If they need to ask something, if they need some more advice, if they need to go over something, go over that. Don't just rush through it and cut them off every single time they want to say something. Tip number 6, and this one is a biggie, is you can hear the voice tone or the attitude someone has when you call them or when they pick up the phone. So imagine when you've called someone like your brother, your sister, your cousin, and you call them and you can clearly tell they just woke up because their voice is just very droggy and it's not clear and articulate. So same thing applies to when you're on the phone. If you're mad, if you're sad, if you're happy, if you're excited, you can hear that through the phone. So make sure while you are talking, you are in a very enthusiastic and sharp tone so they can clearly hear that you're excited to talk to them and that you genuinely care. Not like when someone calls a business and they're like, hello, hi, how can I help you? None of that. You got to be energetic. You got to be excited because they're going to give you money. You need to show them that you care and that you're the professional. So that wraps up this video on creating and using sales scripts. Again, download the sales script down below, print it, laminate it, use it, create it to your own. So this is just a real generic base one for you to go off of. From this, create your own, use it, tweak it, use it all the time as you see fit. So download that down below, like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.